Do you find the world of constantly changing digital technology kind of hard to navigate and it's hard to keep up? Well, in this Word Made Digital tutorial, we're going to be talking about digital trends for 2023, what I see coming down the pipe that might affect you, your ministry, and your leadership in your church. So let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Word Made Digital Tutorials. I'm Joanna LaFleur, and this series of tutorials is all about helping equip you to communicate the best news in the world in the digital age. And so we wouldn't be able to do that without amazing partners. And the partner on this one is the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. They've actually sponsored a ton of these tutorials because they want to equip you to focus on your ministry and your mission while they help you with the methods. More on them later, but let's talk about 2023 and where I see things headed. So let's look at a few trends. Number one, the chapter in our lives of hybrid events, that is live and virtual at the same time, it might be coming to a close. It seems to be a broader trend culturally where people are making decisions where times are a bit tighter with the rumors of recession around us. People are making kind of decisions right now about if they're going to go to events or if they want to invest in events at all. And so they're also making decisions about if they want to do virtual or if they want to do in person. Because the thing about doing the hybrid model, which I think a lot of us have discovered, is that in some ways, you kind of miss the best of both, where if you're in the room and they're trying to connect with people online, it feels disjointed from what's happening and disingenuous to what's happening in the room. But if you're online and trying to check in on what's happening in the room, sometimes the experience is not as good. And so events that are focused solely on in-person or solely on online seem to be the way that things are going. The hybrid model of online and in-person at the same time seems to be something that we're going to see less and less in 2023. So how does that affect you in your church? You want to be thinking about, what does that look like for your online experiences? Are they separate experiences to your in-person events, or are you trying to have people in the room and online have an experience at the same time together? And are you noticing, is it working? Is it not? You might want to think about that, because I think a lot of people are finding it's not really working to do it as a hybrid. Maybe you want to split those into two separate kinds of offerings to serve people, to meet people and help them get from online into physical church, or hey, maybe connect with them during the week if they've come in person and you want to connect with them online, but it's not going to look like probably the same kind of event. Number two, podcasts remain relevant and are only actually increasing in listenership, and specifically podcasts around niche views, niche topics. And so what does this mean for you as a ministry, as a church? Do you have a podcast? And not just if you're a church, for example, not just posting your sermons, but do you have another kind of podcast? Maybe the drive home on Sunday afternoon to give some things that you didn't have to give time to give context for on the Sunday, or maybe you do a roundtable discussion with leaders on Wednesdays, or whatever it may be. I encourage you to think about how podcasting can integrate into what you offer people, because people want podcasts, and they want podcasts on niche topics. So if there's something you want to dive into, like apologetics, or maybe you want to lean into kids ministry and family focus, whatever it may be, whatever is the strength of your ministry, your church, I want you to lean into that and consider ways that you can offer content, audio only or audio and video podcast style. It's very easy and cheap startup costs if you don't already have a podcast. And there's some tutorials around on this site if you want to get more on how to podcast. I've got some other tutorials all about that specifically, but it seems like the trend for 2023 is podcast, and specifically niche podcasts focus on specific target markets, not the broader community. Smaller groups within it are here to stay, and they're growing. Number three, micro influencers. Businesses are trending and discovering that small influencers in local areas are really influential in people making decisions. And micro influencers can mean we're talking like less than 10,000 followers on Instagram or YouTube or things like that. So the good news is those are a lot more affordable people to connect with. If you're trying to partner with a big name brand Christian musician or well-known author, speaker, whatever it is, they're going to be more expensive to connect to, and it's going to be harder actually to be able to make that happen. But if you're talking about micro influencers, people in your local community who connect in a meaningful way with people in your local community, and you have an opportunity to help them sponsor an event or talk about something that you've got for sale right now. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a resource, maybe it's something coming up that you want people to come to, whatever it may be. If you can connect with local influencers, small influencers in your community, I think you're going to see huge success in the ways that you can partner with them to get the word out. And more than that, of course, it's not just word out about events and things like that. We're talking about the good news is influencers online are reaching people with things that they value and care about. So micro influencers are also a trend for churches because we're talking about sharing the good news of Jesus. We're talking about people living their lives in a meaningful way in front of people online in such a way that it influences other people's behavior and practices. So encourage your community to invite people not just to an event, but to church on a Sunday. Encourage people to share about the things that they're learning in their small group Bible study and invite others to come along with them, whether online or in person at a Bible study. There's all kinds of ways that we can use that. But micro influencing, that is small groups influencing small groups, is an amazing way to see the gospel go forward in your community. Number 4, TikTok. TikTok continues to be king right now in 2023 of what's happening in the world of social media and digital media. The world of Meta, that is the world of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they own those kinds of brands and platforms. They seem to be a bit muddled right now, and TikTok, meanwhile, is continuing to be the rising star. So if your ministry, your church has been wondering, 2023 is the year to start your TikTok account. It's not too late. If you haven't already done it, now is the time. Number 5, related to TikTok, is video. Video is trending for 2023. Businesses, ministries, charities, government, individuals, everybody's using video to tell their story, to explain their point of view, to invite people in, to share an event, to celebrate whatever it is. Video is something that we need to integrate more. So if you're thinking about this for your ministry or your church, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can pull out a smartphone. They're amazing phones that we have in our pockets these days. I've got videos here, tutorials here on how to use a smartphone to take better video and better photography. So if you want to check those out, you can do so. But the idea of video is, it's not just about still images with text. We want to engage people through moving motion pictures. So you can actually take your still photos and make them into a video by putting a bunch of them together and putting music behind them. If that's what you have, beautiful photography from Sunday mornings, and that's an amazing way to do it. But don't be afraid to pull out a smartphone if you don't have a DSLR or a higher end camera, and use your smartphone to capture video, to share the story of what's going on. You can even do testimonies in the lobby, casual style, to go around and have a camera and have a little microphone that you can buy for $10 on Amazon and capture people's stories about what's impacting them about your church, or go around at your community dinner, at your soup kitchen on a Thursday night, and if you have permission to do so, talk to some of the volunteers about why they get involved and why they serve in order to get other people involved in serving. There's all kinds of ways you can do video to tell a story, and video is going to be king again in 2023. Number 6 is artificial intelligence and the rise of GPT-4. Now, you may have never heard of what this is, GPT-4. What does it stand for? It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer 4, or you might have heard of Chat GPT. It's something that's starting to go around. You might have seen some news articles on it or heard about it in the news. Essentially, what this is a platform where you can put in a question or a request, and it will actually spit out content beautifully formed into sentences, paragraphs, and lists for you. So for example, you might say, write 10 social media captions about my church, and you write a little bit about the church. Or you might say, give us a short devotional on Ephesians chapter 2. Or, you can think of, give me 10 blog posts to write to parents. And it can create all kinds of lists, content, and spit it out for you. Now, a word of caution, of course, it can't write your sermon for you. It might help you gather some thoughts and thinking on it, but it is a computer-generated thing. It's not actually actually a person on the other end. So you want to read through and capture what it has done and try and make it your own. Not just, because of copyright, but because it's not going to be in its final form. We're not there yet. Don't worry. Computers and robots are not taking over your job. But there's an opportunity here, and we're going to do a whole video tutorial about what the opportunities are with artificial intelligence and how GPT chat can help you engage with people in an amazing way online when you're short on time and short on resources, which is probably true for most people watching this who are in ministry, who are in churches, who are in charities. Now, speaking of that, of course, thank you so much to the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities who are making this video possible. We wouldn't be able to bring it to you without them. And as we said up top, they are doing method while you focus on ministry. They have a ton of resources, and many of them can be free, even if you're not a member. So I encourage you to check it out. Go to cccc.org/free. And there you can find, for example, a workshop that's all about understanding how to be in compliance as a charity in Canada. Now, these are things you may never think about in your day-to-day work, and that is the point. The Canadian Centre for Christian Charities partners with you, worrying about things that you are not an expert in and worrying about things that you don't have to think about because you've partnered as a member with 4Cs. It's an amazing opportunity for members too to just brush up on not only their knowledge, but also a whole community of people who are doing like-minded work across the country. So go to cccc.org/free. There's tons of resources there. We would love for you to check it out and consider being a member if you aren't already. Thanks so much for checking out this Word Made Digital tutorial. What is a trend that you're seeing that I've missed? Throw it down in the comments. I would love to look back a year from now and see, were these trends correct? What do you think? What am I missing? Throw it down in the comments. And as always, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have something that you'd like us to make tutorials about, like ChatGPT, we're going to be doing one coming up. We would love to hear from you. So leave a comment, send us a message, and we will make sure to make content that serves you and the questions and the needs that you have as you navigate the digital age as a Christian ministry in Canada. We have a ton of tutorials here. We would love for you to subscribe. It helps more people find these tutorials. When we have some subscribers, the algorithm starts to send more people our way. So we would love for you to do that. If you haven't subscribed, do so now and check out all these tutorials, because the whole point of them is to serve you and to help you. If you have questions, if you have something that you'd like us to make research tutorial content about, then send it our way. Send us a question, a comment, however you can do so. Hit that like button so that we can make sure we're sending you content that is useful to you, and we'll see you on the next tutorial.